What is going on, you guys? It's been a week since I last posted up a video tutorial, and it's also been a week that I've promised that I was going to make the Avengers text effect. And the reason of that is because I was experiencing a couple of difficulties with my computer, but thankfully my computer is good now, and I'm able to provide you with this tutorial. So let's begin. First off, this is our end result here, as you can see. That's how it's gonna look. It's the exact effect, if not similar, to the Avengers text effect. So let's begin in doing this text effect. Let's go to File, New, and I'm going to name my document Avengers. Set my width to 1280, my height to 720, my resolution at 72 pixels. And I haven't mentioned this before, you only work on 72 pixels when you're working for the web. Whenever you want to print anything, let's say if you want to print this text effect, you want to print it out, you're gonna have to change the resolution to 300 or more, depending on for what you're printing. But generally speaking, it's 300 pixels of resolution. And maybe you might want to change the color mode to CMYK, or depending on your printer settings or how your printer works. But for now, we're gonna leave everything. We're gonna leave a resolution for 72 pixels. So hit OK. Now I'm going to change my background layer. Instead of white, I want it black. So as black is our foreground color, I'm gonna hit Alt Delete or Control Delete. I'm sorry, it's Alt Delete for Windows and Option Delete for a Mac. So I just did Option Delete to change that color, to fill in that white space. Next, I'm going to add a text layer. Before I even begin with the text layer, I should say that we first need a couple of elements. Just a couple of elements for this video tutorial. First element we're going to need is obviously the text effect. The text for this demonstration. And the text, the font, I should say, it's called Heroes Assemble. So just go to thefont.com and download that off there. And install it in your system, Mac or Windows, and you'll be able to use it. So first letter I'm going to type in is A. A for the Avengers. And I'm not going to type all of this together because I don't want it to be all in one layer, so I can have some space to work with in case I want to move anything or want to change something. It doesn't have to happen in all of the text layer. So I'm just gonna center this and put it in the middle of my document. So to do that, I'm going to hit B on my keyboard to bring up my move tool. Select my whole document, and I'm going to choose Align to Horizontal Center. Then I'm going to choose Align Vertical Center. So there it is in the middle, exactly in the middle. Next, what I'm going to do is to deselect everything and begin with the layer styles. Right click on the layer, blending options. First thing we're going to add is a gradient overlay. So choose gradient overlay, choose the gradient scale, and the first color stop, we're going to add a light blue color, or should say a dark blue color, almost black, and that color is going to be 212D 3A. And again, that color is 212D 3A. Okay. Next, let's make another color stop. And for this one, the color of this is going to be 36 me just select that. 36 4F 62. Hit OK. And we're gonna set that color location. Set it to 40%. Let's make another color stop. And the color stop for this color is going to be 9E B9 D1. Okay. And the location for this is going to be 67. And we're going to choose the same color. Hit OK. Change the scale to 135. And now I'm going to just adjust my gradient just a little bit. So the next style in our list is Bevel and Emboss. We're going to change our technique to chisel hard. Our depth, we're going to change that to 147. Direction is going to be up. Our scale is going to be 4. And our softening is going to be set to 2. Our angle, we're going to leave it as default. Highlight mode and shadow mode are going to stay as they are. And now we're going to move on and select the contour. And now for the contour I'm going to choose rounded step. Hit OK. And anti-Ellipse. The range can stay at 50. Next, I'm going to choose satin. And for the satin, we're going to leave opacity at 50%. Our angle, though, we're going to set it to 148. Our distance, we're going to set our distance to 122. Our size is going to be set to 65. And the contour, we're going to leave it to its S shape and anti-Ellipse. Now we're going to add an inner glow. Our blending mode, it's going to be set to screen. Leave it as it is. Our opacity is going to stay at 75. But our color is going to change to B1 FF. Hit OK, and we're going to set the source to edge. Set our choke to 2 and our size to 8, and everything else it's gonna stay as is. I'm not gonna change anything else. Now we're gonna add an inner shadow to it. We're gonna change our blend mode to screen. Change our color to white. Okay. Leave our opacity at 75. Our angle is gonna stay at 120. Remove global lighting. Our distance is going to be set to 5, choke 0, and size 2. And hit OK. So far, so good. Next, we're going to copy that layer. Command Control J. And we're going to set its blending mode to overlay. Now we're going to convert our text layers to a smart object. Set it to overlay. Next, after this, we're going to add the little circle that goes around the A. So let's do that. Before we even do that, what I would like to do is add the metallic layer that's going to go on the A. I'm not sure if I mentioned it in the beginning of this video, but we are going to need a metallic texture. And you can look for that in Google. Just Google search it, and you will find many metal textures. Just choose the one that you would prefer. But for the purposes of this tutorial, I've chosen one that it gives off a general metallic texture. So I'm just going to place that in my document, resize it a bit, and now confirm changes, and I'm going to make my A letter a selection, and by doing that, just hold down Command and click in your text layer. And while you have your metal texture highlighted, click on the layer mask. So there you have your layer mask, and now change its blending mode to soft light. And you just bring down the opacity down. I'll leave it at 100, whichever you prefer. I would think I would like to leave it at 100, and I'm going to add an adjustment layer to it, an adjustment layer of curves. And the adjustment layer is just to give some contrast to our text layer, our texture layer, I should say, rather. So there could be contrast within that texture layer. So now I'm going to clip that adjustment layer to my texture layer. So the adjustment layer only affects that layer, because if I don't clip it, it's going to affect my whole document, and I don't want that. So I'm just going to clip that to my texture layer. And to do that, you hit Control or Alt. It's Alt or Option. Option for Mac, Alt for, I believe, Windows. And you get a little bit more contrast on your texture. Next, we're going to add the circle that goes around the A. And simply what that is just a circle. So just go to your shape tools, by either going to your toolbox or by hitting the letter U on your keyboard. Right click and select Ellipse. And now, to drag out a perfect circle, just hold Shift, and to move it around, just hold space as you drag. So I believe something like this is good. Bring it in a little bit more, maybe enlarge it a little bit more. Let's see. That looks quite well. And I'm gonna leave it as it is. I'm gonna change the color to white so I can see what I'm doing. Hit OK. And now we're going to subtract a couple of areas from this shape so we can get that outer rim that the text effect has. To do that, we're going to make sure that our ellipse is selected. Go up to our menu options and click on Path Operations, and we're going to choose Subtract from Shape. And to help me choose an accurate selection, I'm going to add a couple of guidelines for me. So I'm going to select it from the center out, and just to make it come out from the center, just click and then drag out while holding Alt Shift or Control Shift if you're on Windows. So it's about that big. Leave it as so. And I'm going to edit even further, so I only have this part of this, to subtract this part in the middle where the A is going, the leg, where they're both intersecting. Subtract that area. And I'm also going to subtract the part where the top part of the A intersects with the circle. Subtract that area, and I think we'll be good. So next step is to select our rectangle tool. Make sure you have your ellipse selected. And now, to adjust and move it around, we're going to choose our path selection tool, Command Control T. But make sure you have that shape selected, so Command Control T to rotate it, to bring it to transform, and rotate it around. And just line up against the A. Just follow the natural A line. And that should be looking good. So now I'm going to subtract this part out. So back to my shapes tool and go up to the menu options and select subtract from shape. And now go back to our path selection tool. Select the shape, rotate it around, and keep aligning it, subtracting the part that we need to subtract, enlarging it, making it smaller. Just make it as you need. Select away from it. It looks to be looking good. I'm just going to subtract one more part of it. Select ellipse again. Go back to your shape tool. Make sure to select subtract from shape, and just drag another shape. So like that. Next, we're going to apply the same effects that we did to our text. So let's just go right click on our letter A, copy layer style, paste layer style. And we have the same effect there. Now we're going to do the same thing and add. We're going to add that text layer to it, texture layer. Delete this layer mask, right click and delete layer mask. So it should be visible. But since it's in soft light, it's not visible, so let's set it to normal. There it is. Command T to transform it. Place it where everything is interesting. And I'm going to set it like that. Make your circle into a selection by, but before, make sure to, under the changes, select, make your circle into selection, command click. And then by having your textures highlighted, click add layer mask, and you have your layer mask there. And then change the blending mode to soft light. There you go. Now we're going to add another adjustment layer to that one. So just add adjustment layer, and we're going to add curves. While I'm here, I'm going to just clip it to the texture layer. So let's just do that. Set that there, and that there. There we go. That looks good. Now to the rest of the text. So the rest of the text is going to be Avenger. Confirm the text. Select your move tool. And line it up against the base of your text. And now we're going to add the same layer effects that we did to your text layer, a text layer. Just go ahead and go copy layer styles and then paste layer styles. And we have layer effects. And now I'm bring down that layer to the new layer icon. Duplicate that. We're gonna set it to convert it to a smart object. Set that to overlay. And now we just need to add that same texture. So let's copy that. Bring it up to the front. Let's reclip this. And now delete that layer mask. Make sure that we have Avengers as a selection. Make a mask. set it to soft light, and it's already set to soft light. We're going to add adjustment layer to that one. Let's go to curves, flip it while we're here, and let's just do that. Let's make that curve. So I'm going to leave mine as it is there. Make sure to have your Avengers text selected and make it to a selection. And then click, and then make that layer mask. And you will have that metal texture into that Avengers text. Now we're going to add a gradient overlay, I should say, to each one of these. We're going to set its blending mode to overlay. So the same thing we did with the layer mask. We're going to make a new layer, Control Shift N or Command Shift N. Name it whatever it is you want. I'm going to put mine gradient. And I'm going to select my Avenger text. Make sure that that's made into a selection. Choose my gradient tool by hitting the letter G on my keyboard. And make sure that the gradient is black to white. So now let's go from the bottom up and make that selection. Make that into a gradient. Convert that to overlay. It's blending mode to overlay. Like so. Then we're going to do another one for the A. So let's just Command Shift N again. And we'll call this one gradient 2. Select, make your letter A into selection. Choose your gradient tool, and from bottom up, make that gradient selection. Deselect, change its blending mode to overlay, and this is the same thing for our ellipse. Shift N, Command Control Shift N, gradient 3. Make sure to make a circle into a selection. Hold Shift and drag up to make a straight gradient. Deselect, gradient over, change its blending mode to overlay. There you go. And now, and last but not least, we're gonna add one more word, one more text. That's the word the. So confirm that. Command and Control to resize that. And while dragging it down, hold Shift to constrain that. So now just adjust it, place it there. Okay, and we're gonna change its color. Change the color to let's change that color to E1. Okay. And we'll zoom in a little bit and adjust that text a little bit more. And there you have it. I'm just going to select everything and just center it up. Move it towards more of the center. So like that. So there you guys have it. That's the Avengers text effect, if not similar to it. So there it is, you guys. I'm gonna leave you off with that. And until next time, don't forget to follow me on Facebook, Google Plus. Now I have a Twitter account, and I also have an Instagram account. If you guys want to follow me on those, subscribe if you guys want to. I'll be putting up a bunch of tutorials, and because of the new movie release of the Avengers, I'm most likely going to be putting up a couple of Avengers based Photoshop tutorials. Like, for example, I plan to recreate the Captain America shield within Photoshop so that you can use it in whatever projects that you want. I might do a Thor hammer, and I'm not quite sure, but I might do the Iron Man helmet in Photoshop. So keep tuned, you guys, and wait to see what's coming up. So I'll leave you guys with that, and until next time.